just broken my coffee machine, which is terrible right before I have to run a training. We have this beautiful coffee machine and it's all blocked up, a little bit like I am at the moment. So I had sinus surgery about 10 days ago. So if you notice that I'm sounding especially nasally, that's why. Yeah, I'm still quite congested and in a bit of pain and that sort of stuff. So I would say I'm probably at about 60% of my normal energy levels today. But I'm really looking forward to running this training, and I think we're going to have a great time with it. So I can see Cindy's joined as well. Alicia, hello. Okay, so, oh, thank you, Anya. I hope I feel better soon too. Hi, Alicia. Nice to see you on the line. Yeah, I hope I feel better soon too. It's I'm hoping that at least by Christmas I'm feeling decent, but we'll see how we go. Okay, so if people want to tell me where they're from, where they're calling in from, that would be really cool. Hopefully there's not too many people that are up at a ridiculous time. I know in Europe and the UK it's very, very early in the morning. So if you're tuning in from there, my apologies. So we've got Maryland in the USA. We've got Sydney. I know Alicia's from Adelaide like me. So England. Oh, Tom, I thought you might be in England. Sorry that you're up so late. We've got Ottawa and northern New South Wales. So we've got people from all over the world. That's really cool. Okay, so I can see Monique's joined as well. Sal, really cool to have all these people live. It's so much more fun when we have people on the call. Okay, so today I'm running a free workshop on using astro planning. And look, guys, there's a lot of different ways. I'm just going to turn a bit of light on here. There's a lot of different ways that we can use astrology to plan our year, so I can't teach you all of them, but I'm going to go through just a few that I personally find really helpful to start off my year looking at and to plan around. So I'm going to share that with you today. Some of it may be a little bit technical depending on your level of astrology knowledge. So I do have a free course over at the Embodied Soul Astrology Academy called Astrology Basics. And so if you go through this training and there's certain things that you're just not feeling confident with, then you might want to go and check out that free course, okay? I think it's about 5 lessons or something like that. It's not like a really big, heavy course, but it's a really great overview of astrology as well. So that's definitely worth you checking out. So I'm going to post the link to the worksheet for this course. I'm just going to grab that. It was also linked, I think, in the email that went out this morning, so you can get it from there, but I'm just going to type this into the chat, send to everyone. Okay, so you're not necessarily, in fact, you probably won't be using this worksheet as we go through. It's more of something for you to use after, to sit down and like apply what I'm going to talk about today. Okay, so you can grab that worksheet, download it, print it out. It's also fillable, so you can do it electronically if you want to do that as well. So I'm going to share my screen now. So let's work that one out. Let me just get to the first page of these slides as well. Right. Why won't it let me? Okay, so my computer's having a little hissy fit, so just give me a second. I'm going to shut down anything that doesn't need to be up right now. Let's see how it goes. So are you able to see my slides? Can someone let me know whether my slides came up? Yes, great. Thank you. I think that was Tom. Thank you. So let's dive in. I'm going to minimize this bit here. Let me just get everything set up in a way that's going to work well for me to be able to see questions and stuff as well as we go through. Okay, so actually, you can put it up there. Awesome. Okay. Okay, so this is our training for today, the Art of Astro Planning. And this is really a technique that I've developed for myself over time. It's what I absolutely use. When I am planning my year, I actually use astrology for daily, weekly, monthly, and annual planning. So, you know, you can use it almost at every level. That's what's kind of so cool about astrology. So welcome everyone. I think we've already kind of done that, but it's so exciting to have heaps of you on the lines today. And what we're going to go over, so I'm going to very briefly talk about my background. I'm going to talk about what is astro planning and why I love it. I'm going to give you a brief overview of the astrology of 2021 so you can get a sense of what the total annual energy is going to be. Then I'm going to talk about retrogrades in 2021 and how you can work with them. I'm working with the new moon and full moon every month, how to plan your week using the planetary days. And then I'll just talk through the worksheet so you can see how I intended that you apply the learnings. And I'm also going to talk about a few of the different ways that you can work with me in 2021 if you'd like to take things further. So I'm a business astrologer over at catherinehocking.com. I very much focus on business astrology. However, I do still do natal chart readings as well, but generally most of my courses are about helping people apply it to their business or to use astrology through their own business. So I'm the head trainer over at the Embodied Soul Astrology Academy. And I'm also an astro brand designer at Pisces Creative Co. So I created Pisces Creative Co. to use my flagship methodology of astro branding. So for people that want to create beautiful logos and brands that are aligned to their natal charts. So that's what I do over at Pisces Creative Co. But I've also got 8 years experience in online business, including having created $1 million e-course. I actually shut this e-course down as of yesterday after having run it for 8 years, and that was the e-course launch formula. So I spent many, many years teaching people how to create online courses. So I've got a whole lot of online business experience as well. I'm a business coach and launch strategist, which is kind of what people love about working with me, is that I can bring in the astrology perspective, but also a strategic business perspective as well. And I'm also a qualified soul and energy medicine practitioner. So I've really, over a number of years, developed those more soulful approaches as well. But astrology was really the modality that I really connected with and that I wanted to focus on. And these days, everything in my business is now based on astrology. I apply it in different ways through teaching, doing astrology readings, and doing astro branding. But astrology is that core modality that really is constant through everything that I do. So what is astro planning? Astro planning is a term that I coined, and it's a process of using astrological concepts to plan your year, month, week, and day. So it allows you to work in alignment with both your natural but also the universal cycles that are at play. And it assists you to feel in flow, because if you're able to plan your year and your initiatives and what you're doing in alignment with the transits you're going through, in alignment with where the planets are activating your chart, you will feel a lot more in flow than if you're kind of trying to do something that's completely different to kind of what the energy is for you. And what's great about astro planning is that it can be applied to your unique natal chart. We're not looking at it at a global level. We're looking at it at a really specific personal level as well, which is really cool. So feel free to ask questions as we go through as well. I'll keep a little bit of an eye on it, but if I need to, I'll come back at the end. So now I just want to talk a little bit about the astrology of 2020 and 2021. I will say that astrologers saw 2020 coming. It wasn't a big surprise to us that it has been such a crazy year. You know, we could really see it, and it was kind of coined as being a cosmic storm in 2020. So we had Pluto, Saturn, and Jupiter all in Capricorn, and we also had the Great Conjunction aspect, which was Saturn and Jupiter conjunct in Capricorn. Now, Capricorn is like the grandfather of the zodiac, and Saturn is at home in Capricorn. So Saturn's the planet that brings a lot of fear, restriction, responsibility. It's quite a heavy energy. So when astrologers saw that 3 of these main planets were all together in Capricorn, it gave us a bit of a sense of the patriarchy, the old world order, really kind of needing to transform with Pluto there. So there was quite a heavy energy to it. We saw that it was going to be a breaking down of old structures that no longer serve the collective. So things like dismantling systems of patriarchy, things like the importance of the Black Lives Matter movement, the importance of the Me Too movement, you know, and COVID as well, were all part of this big restructuring that needed to occur for the world and for the environment. So in a positive light though, in 2021, Saturn and Jupiter are moving into Aquarius, and Aquarius brings a much more innovative, progressive, humanitarian and technology-focused era. So we do get a sense that even though I think 2021 is still not going to be what I'd call easy street, there is a sense of innovation and a more progressive feel to the energy of 2021. And it's really going to be about how we adapt to this new normal that we find ourselves in. Astrologers certainly don't think everything's just going to kind of go back to normal in a couple of months. Like 2021 is still a year of pretty significant restrictions on freedom of movement, global travel, and needing to have a really collective and a humanitarian energy, because it's about what is actually best for all of society as opposed to what might be best for us as individuals. So from my perspective, it's time to build a legacy for future generations that benefits humanity as a collective. So we're really talking about a new world order that we're moving into. So in 2021, the major aspect that we're going to see impacting us is Saturn square Uranus. So this is a 14-year cycle, so it happens every 14 years. And it's going to be direct on the 17th of February, the 14th of June, and the 24th of December. So you might want to put those dates in your diary. This is where this aspect will be felt most strongly. And what this aspect is really about is about a tension between independence and responsibility. So Uranus wants to be free, wants to kind of revolt, wants to be very independent. And then Saturn is all about structures and responsibility and tradition. So this is really quite a tense aspect. It's likely going to impact global financial systems because we have Uranus in Taurus, and Taurus really is the sign of financial systems. So I think we're going to see a lot of the impacts of the COVID pandemic on financial systems around the world. And there's going to be a further restructuring of systems and our ways of life. So as I said, adapting to this new normal and what this looks like. So it's an aspect of challenge, but it's one that creates a dynamic tension that can push us to make productive changes. Okay, so again, as I said, I don't see 2021 as being like total easy street. It's definitely going to be better than 2020, but it's still a time of kind of adapting and adjusting to things. because we see in the following years, Saturn and Jupiter start to move into Pisces. We'll start to get a bit of a softer energy to things. So you can actually look at how this major aspect is going to impact you personally. So you can look up 6 to 13 degrees Taurus and Aquarius in your chart and see which houses they're falling in, and see if you've got any natal planets between 6 to 13, either Taurus or Aquarius. So that is where these two planets are going to be squaring each other. So by seeing which houses are involved, you can get a sense of what this aspect of challenge might mean for you on a more personal level in 2021. And I always believe the benefit of astrology is that we're able to kind of prepare for these challenges and know what to expect and work with them in a more conscious way, rather than feeling like things are just happening to us. We can kind of work with that energy. So I encourage you to look up your chart and see where that falls for you on your chart. So the way to work with this energy is to stay open-minded, patient, and flexible. Feel like we've made the really difficult shifts in 2020, and now it's about learning to adapt to this new normal and create a better future. So it's about, stopping resisting the change, taking a long-term and measured view. This isn't something that's just going to all get better overnight. Finding the opportunity in the restrictions. So a lot of people have found they've been more connected with their families, or particularly their immediate family, or they've been almost given permission to slow down and do less in their lives. So there are opportunities in the restriction, and to focus on the possibilities that this offers us. And I believe we can choose to view it as a reset for the environment and for ourselves. There's been a lot of really positive impacts on the environment from having so many less planes in the air and less production, less radiation. So there's a lot of things that are actually really, really good for our environment. Okay, so then if we look at retrogrades for 2021. So we always have planets retrograding, and it's when a planet appears to turn backwards in the sky. And this happens due to an optical illusion caused by differences in orbit. And all the major planets, excluding the luminaries, so excluding the sun and the moon, go retrograde from time to time. And when planets go retrograde, the impact of the planet changes, and the type of activities that are recommended change too. So we can really, again, consciously choose to work with this energy. So when astrologers talk about retrograde season, what they mean is that a lot of planets are retrograding at the same time. So I'm going to zoom in on this page a little bit so we can see this chart a bit better. So if we look at when retrograde season is going to be in 2021, you get this sense through like August, September. You can see there's a lot of the planets that are retrograding. It's a bit hard to see with the white there at the top, but we've got, what have we got? We've got Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto all retrograde at the same time. So this is what we would call retrograde season. And really also probably July, we've got 4 of them retrograde for all of July. So again, if you hear anyone talk about retrograde season, that is what they're referring to. So in 2020, we had retrograde season from May to November. So it was actually 7 months long, which is really a very long retrograde season. And again, that gives you a bit of a sense of this energy of 2020 was quite intense. In 2021, it's really only about 4 months long. So when we've got multiple planets retrograding, it's a much shorter period in that middle part of the year. So this is important to note that retrograde season does vary from year to year. Some years are going to be longer, some are going to be shorter. But I think the key thing here is probably if I was, thinking about planning things in my own business or even in my life, I would probably be looking at not doing it right in that middle part of the year, because there's a lot of retrograde energy going on. And I'll talk to you about what the different retrograde energies mean, but this is pretty intense energy. So I'd probably be looking at doing things earlier in the year and then closer to the end of the year, as opposed to that middle part of the year. Okay, so again, I'm going to zoom in because this is clearly too small to be able to look at. Sorry about that. So, okay, so Mercury retrograde, this is the one that you're probably all familiar with. It gets talked about a lot online. So we have Mercury retrograde from the 31st of January to the 20th of February, and the 30th of May to 22nd of June, and 27th of September to 19th of October. And by the way, these dates are really easy to look up online as well. So when Mercury's retrograde, the big thing is for business clients, I'm always recommend don't launch during Mercury in retrograde if you can help it. Now, of course, it goes retrograde 3 times in a year, so it's not always possible to avoid it, particularly if you're someone that's kind of constantly doing promotions or launching smaller things throughout the year. But it's a time where, things like websites and technology tend to go awry. It's not a great time for signing contracts. It's not a great time for launching things, but it is a good time for reviewing your plans and doing like that preparation work for, a launch or an important activity. I wouldn't be looking at buying a house or a business or any kind of big financial and legal transactions during this time. We've then got Venus retrograde not happening until right at the end of the year. Okay, so it's almost, for those of us that might take a bit of a break over Christmas and New Year, it's almost not even really going to impact us from a business perspective. But generally, it's not a great time, again, for launching because there's a lack of magnetism, a lack of natural magnetism when Venus is retrograde. But what it is good for is connecting with your past clients. So it's like Venus is the planet of money, love, receptivity, magnetism, and it's in this kind of backwards motion. So it's this great time to reconnect with past clients and perhaps remind them about the work that you do or make a special offer for them to work with you again. Okay? Mars isn't retrograding at all in 2021, which is pretty cool. Mars was retrograde for quite a long time in 2020. And this again accounts for some of this 2020 energy because Mars is the planet of bravery and action, of initiative and moving forward. And it was retrograde for 6 months. It was going backwards. So if there was this feeling for you, like particularly in the second half of the year, that you weren't really getting anywhere, well, a lot of that can relate to Mars being retrograde. It was a good time, however, for completing projects, so finishing off things that had already been started when it went retrograde. We don't need to worry about that particular one in 2021. Jupiter retrograde. Jupiter goes retrograde from late June to mid-October. Again, I probably wouldn't be inclined to launch something when Jupiter is retrograde because Jupiter is all about money and abundance and expansion. So, having it retrograde isn't the type of energy I'd want to launch something really important in my business. But it is great for finishing off unfinished courses and studies. So if you're like most of the people I know, you've bought a lot of online training, bought a lot of online courses, it's a great time to get in and do that because Jupiter rules knowledge and learning and education. So with Saturn retrograde, Saturn's retrograde from the 23rd of May to the 10th of October. So again, for quite a long time. And so it's a really good time for, again, it's not so much for the taking action, but it's like reviewing all the structures in our lives, all the systems, the plans, our goals, where we're heading, okay? So focusing on that planning and the existing systems you have in your life, but not so much that moving forward energy. Uranus is retrograde from August through to January. So with this energy, Uranus is the type of energy that wants us to go and like make really big, bold, sudden changes in our lives. I wouldn't recommend doing this when it's retrograde, but it is a good time to think about those big, bold, sudden changes you'd like to make, and consider them, but then wait for it to go direct again before you do that, okay? Neptune is retrograde from June to the end of June to the 1st of December. So, I mean, with Neptune kind of puts a bit of a haze over everything it touches. It can bring confusion and disillusionment. And when it's retrograde, it can be a time where actually the rose-colored glasses come off and the reality becomes a bit clear. It is good for creative outlets, musical outlets, spiritual and artistic projects. It's a really good time to do healing on past traumas or hurts. And it's also a time where you might revisit your spiritual beliefs. You know, you might have a crisis of faith, so to speak. And then when Pluto's retrograde, it's retrograde from end of April to start of October. It's a really good time for therapeutic, like deep healing work, mindset work, okay? So it's about delving into your old fears, your limiting beliefs, your unconscious patterns, and really working through those types of issues so that you're in a place where you are able to transform when it goes direct again. So that's a bit of an idea of what the different retrogrades are about and how they can best be harnessed. I'm just going to zoom out again so I can click through. Okay, so at the end of the training, I will kind of go through the worksheet and how you can work with all of these. I'm just going to go through the main information first, and then we'll talk about how you can apply it. So the next thing that I like to do is plan with the new and full moon and look at how the new and full moon is going to impact me on a personal level. Okay, so again, you've probably heard a lot of people talking about setting intentions with the new moon, releasing things with the full moon, but a lot of people don't actually realize that you can get more specific with it and really look at how and where it's impacting your specific chart. So, you know, working with the lunar cycles is amazingly powerful, and it's one that I've been doing for over 5 years, every new and full moon. And the moon ebbs and flows in cycles from the new moon, where we can't see it in the sky, through to the climax of the full moon, where it's shining really brightly. New moon, as I said, is a powerful time for setting intentions and activating our desires, particularly for the next 2 weeks. And then the full moon is a powerful time to release and let go from that cycle. So we can plan with the lunar cycles because each new moon and full moon will fall in a different house in your astrology chart. And each month you can look up the sign and degrees of the new and full moon to see which house the new moon and full moon is activating. And then you can consult this chart to see what that means for the next 2 weeks. So it can indicate a theme of the next 2 weeks and which areas you'd be best to focus on and what you can expect. So if you are quite new to astrology, you might not be familiar of what all of these houses are about. And again, my Astrology Basics guide over at the Embodied Soul Astrology Academy provides you with this chart and information on what all the different houses mean. I am going to give you an example from my own chart, but it is worth opting in even just to get that chart to refer to. So this is my chart here. So I'm going to give you an example for this new moon that is coming up, is it tomorrow? What's the day today? Yeah, tomorrow. So we've got a new moon in 23 degrees Sagittarius tomorrow. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in a bit here for a moment. So how do we find where it is in our chart? Well, we know it's Sagittarius, so we'll go and we'll look for the Sagittarius glyph on our chart, and then we need to find the degrees. So this is created at astro.com, which is the platform that I recommend. And you start from the start of the sign, and these little numbers represent, little lines represent 5 degrees, and the larger ones are 10 degrees. And every sign has 30 degrees. So this would be 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Okay, now you can also get a few hints. I can see here that I've got Neptune at 21 degrees. I've got my IC at 25 degrees. So I know that 23 is going to be somewhere in between the Neptune and the IC. So basically this new moon is falling right in here, in between my Neptune and my IC line. Okay, so that gives you a sense. So it's going to be my third house. It's very close, what we call conjunct, to my IC line as well. I'm going to talk through how I would interpret this new moon. So Sagittarius, the sign that the new moon is in, is about vision, adventure, and purpose. And then the third house, which the moon is activating for me, is about communications and siblings. The IC, because I said this new moon for me is very, very close to my IC line, which is this big, thick line that goes through the middle of the chart. The IC line is your point of ancestry and family, okay? And then Neptune, which I also said this new moon is conjunct for me as well, can place a haze over whatever it touches. So for me, generally, looking at this part of my chart, there is something here around feeling confused, disillusioned with my family of origin, and that's the IC and the Neptune coming together, and very much the case for me. So whilst I'd love to say that this new moon is all about communicating in my business, it's more likely related to setting intentions relating to how I communicate with my family, especially my siblings being the third house. And you can imagine we're coming up to Christmas time. If you have a family that perhaps is a bit dysfunctional, that's not always the easiest time of year. That's the case for me. So for me, I feel this new moon for me is more about setting intentions around that communication and interaction with my family and my siblings over this next 2-week period. And that's not surprising to me, given we're in the lead up to Christmas. So that gives you a bit of an idea how I use every new and full moon to look at specifically for me, what is this period of 2 weeks about, okay? And with the new moon, I'm setting intentions. With the full moon, I'm releasing. The cool thing is you can go through and you can do this in advance for every new moon and full moon for the year. And then you can obviously then reflect back on it at each new moon and full moon and think about, with the knowledge you've got at the time, what this means for you. And I provided you in the worksheet a chart that you can write in which part of your chart the new moon and full moon is activating, and any other planets or angles that it's close to as well. This is something that I do, and I use it to plan. I'm going to go back because I haven't put any more information. It helps me to plan my year. So for example, the second house, I believe, is the entrepreneurial house, because the second house is how we take our strengths and our talents, things that we're really good at, and how we create resources from them. So to me, that is what we do as business owners, as entrepreneurs. So using that particularly, in this world of like personal brands, online business, we take these skills and talents we have and we create resources from them. So for me, I always look out for which new moon is activating my second house, because that to me is going to be a really good period under which to do a launch. So I'm always on the lookout for that. I'll also take note of which new moon and full moons are in my 12th house, because the 12th house is all about like rest and retreat. It's not going to be a good time for me to be launching and doing things in my business. So that's just a little bit of an example of how I kind of plan in alignment with which houses are being activated. So the final thing I'm going to talk to you about today in terms of astro planning is planetary days, which can be quite a powerful process, particularly if you run a business and particularly if you are full-time in your business and you have the ability to really plan out your days in this way. But you could still do it in the little blocks of time if you do have another job as well. So each day of the week is ruled by a planet or luminary, and therefore certain activities are suited to each day. So if you work for yourself, you may want to plan your week in line with the following, but even if you just do a couple of hours a day in a business or other pursuit, you can plan in alignment with this as well. So Monday is ruled by the moon. So it's all about slow starts, intuition, and self-care. This is really interesting because it's kind of the opposite of what we do in the typical 9-to-5 corporate world. Monday is like getting back into it, back to work, you know, quite like a busy energy. That's not actually what's really in alignment for a Monday. So, you know, for me personally, working with female clients and community, because the moon is the female mother feminine energy, intuitive connection, self-care. These are the types of things that are really suited to a Monday. Tuesday is ruled by Mars. So Mars is all about bravery, motivation, action, and assertiveness. I haven't written it there, but if you work with both male and female clients, a Tuesday would be more suited to working with that more masculine energy. But it's also great for working hard on a project, taking action, being assertive. It's a great day for project management and knocking things off the to-do list. Wednesday is ruled by Mercury. This is all about communication and contracts. So Wednesdays are great for writing, speaking, teaching, podcasts, video streaming, and then also dealing with official documentation. So setting up client invoices, contracts, and files. So they're the types of activities that a Wednesday is great for. So, you know, if you have a day where you wanted to focus on writing your blog and sending your newsletter and doing that sort of stuff, a Wednesday would be great for that. Thursdays are ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter is all about expansion and learning. So this is the day that I would set aside for learning. So doing courses, reading, researching, and also working on passion projects. So things that you're really doing for the love of it is really good for Thursdays. Friday is ruled by Venus, which is all about beauty, pleasure, and creativity. So it's a great day for taking the day off or doing creative and pleasurable work in your business. So as Venus is a money planet, it's also a great day for attracting new clients and customers. So if you're going to focus on the days that you might be doing a bit more kind of outreach to people, really trying to attract people to you, Friday is good for that. Saturday is ruled by Saturn. So it's a great day for organization and planning. So it's a good day to get organized, plan your week, pay bills. So in a sense, if you work for yourself and you're an entrepreneur and you have the ability to, you might want to take either Mondays or Fridays off and actually work on Saturdays potentially, because it's got a really good energy for getting organized and planning and doing more of those kind of admin-y systems type work in your business. And then Sunday is ruled by the sun, and it is the day of rest. So it's a good day to rest, have fun, and fill up your cup. So this is really interesting because I think the planetary day energy isn't entirely the way that in the Western world we have organized our weeks. So if you have the ability, you can work a bit more in alignment by shifting around what you do and when you do it with planetary days. And I've got a table in the worksheet for you to think about how you might want to do that. So I'll go through that in a minute. Okay, so I'm going to open up the worksheet now and talk you through it. So can someone just give me a thumbs up? They can now see the worksheet on the screen. Great, awesome. I'm just going to zoom out a little bit here. Okay, so this is the worksheet. So this first page is really about getting you to think about, as I said, how is this Saturn square Uranus transit going to impact you personally? Okay, and get you thinking about that. So I've got the degrees you want to be looking up, and I showed you how to look up degrees on your chart before. So you want to be looking up where is 6 to 13 degrees Taurus and Aquarius in your chart. So I'd be noting down which houses they're in, any other natal planets that are within those areas, and really just thinking about what that might mean for you, what this interplay between responsibility and structure and independence and freedom, taking into consideration those houses and any other natal planets there, what that might mean for you. You might also want to reflect back on what was going on in your life 14 years ago when this transit last happened. So this was an interesting period for me. It was basically in between. So I had kind of two what are now life events for me. So I had a boyfriend die just before this. And then I also met my now husband just after this transit. So this energy that was going on around this time, and transits often will last for 1 to 2 years with these slower moving planets, there was this energy of this independence versus responsibility. And for me, this transit was over my 8th house, which is also the house that looks at death and rebirth. So I can definitely see how this challenging aspect was impacting me, and how it was a time of, after I grieved the boyfriend that died, it was the time to then come into terms with how can I work with independence, but also relationship and responsibility together, and you know, what does that mean for me? So it's interesting to look back to what was going on 14 years ago, because it can give you a glimpse into the continuing story of this transit for you. So then the next page is retrogrades. So I've given you this retrogrades chart here, and then just get you to think about how might you work with the retrogrades? How might you plan your year to not be doing as much through this middle bit when there's a lot of planets retrograding, but also how can you use that different retrograde energy in the way that I've discussed? And what I'm going to do is, on the recording page, I'm going to upload these slides, because I know there's a lot of really good information in the slides as well. So I'll send out the recording and you can download the slides as well. And then the next page is new and full moons. So I've listed all of the new and full moons. Please keep in mind these dates and times are for my time zone in Australia. So if you're in America or you're in the UK, the date and time might be slightly different, so it would be worth looking that up for your own time zone specifically. But the degrees are still, degrees in sign are always going to be the same. So I would recommend going through all of these, looking up on your chart, which you can create at astro.com if you haven't got one, and writing in which house and which planets, any natal planets in that area as well. Probably with a new moon and full moon, because they move so quickly, I'd be looking for any natal planets within a degree or two of this degree here, so not too far out. So that's that page. And then I've got a planetary days table for you as well. So you can think about how you might be able to plan your week more in alignment with the energy of planetary days as well. And so you can fill in the types of activities that you might want to do on each of these days as well. So that is the worksheet there. And now I am going to, for anyone who's interested, I'm going to talk through the different ways that you can work with me in 2021. If anyone has any questions they want to ask about any of the topics that I've covered so far, please feel free to write them in the comments, and I'll keep an eye on that as well. So there's a few different ways you can work with me, but there's 3 ways that are probably most relevant to what we've been talking about today. So I do year ahead astrology readings where I kind of do a lot of this hard work for you. So I do a lot of, looking up which houses are being activated, which planets, the new and full moons. I look at the major transits that you're going through over the next 12 months. I look at your progressions, a whole lot of different things that give you a really good sense of the energy for the year ahead. That's certainly something you can do. You can book those in over at catherinehocking.com. I also have a program, Your Soulful Year, and I've actually had these workbooks printed. So it's about a 40-page workbook that comes with the program, but it's an online program. And this really dives even deeper into this astrology work for planning your year. So that is over at the Embodied Soul Astrology Academy. You can go through, it's different to a planning program in that it's more about setting intentions, delving into what the energy of your year is going to be about and working in alignment with that. But I then also have a bonus workbook that is the more structured planning. So for people that like to really do both, they can as part of that program. And then I have my level 1 business astrology training, which is what I'm going to talk through in the following slides because it's a little bit more in depth and complicated. So I think a lot of people will appreciate just kind of hearing me talk about it rather than just trying to read the sales page for it. So I'm going to go through that. The first thing I'm going to say is that I typically work with female clients, but I have a lot of males that follow me, and that anyone is welcome to join this program. It's probably branded more for females. I talk more to females, but you're certainly welcome to join no matter your gender, etc. So why might you want to learn astrology? Well, one of the reasons is that it's in the top 4 growing sectors in 2020. So it's experienced a massive increase or resurgence, and it's becoming a lot more socially acceptable. I think in the past, astrology has been ridiculed. It's been not taken that seriously. But I'm noticing more and more for this kind of generation, it's a lot more acceptable to say that you're into astrology, you work with astrology, and I certainly am constantly getting booked for astrology readings. So it's a really growing sector. So it's more than tripled, so 209% since 2015, and has risen 127% in the past year alone. So it's definitely a very profitable and growing sector to be a part of. So my astrology business continued to go through COVID. And in fact, I think COVID actually sent a lot more people my way because people were feeling confused, lost, wanting to understand what was going on, what this energy held for them. My calendar gets booked out weeks in advance. I have clients that return again and again to gain insights into their astrology and how it's impacting their life. So it's definitely, anyone that's questioning this, a very profitable business model. I absolutely love doing it too. So it's certainly not just about the money, but you can absolutely earn money from astrology if anyone is wondering that. So what is the level 1 business astrology training? Well, it's a soulful and transformational group journey to learn about your astrological blueprint. So, your chart, where everything is on your chart and what that means about you, to align your business if you have one, and discover your unique astrological magic. And what I mean by that is that I'm all about helping people work out how they could use astrology in their own unique way, how they could combine it with other skills that they have, other modalities that they use. I don't want to just create blueprints of myself. I want to help you learn to use astrology in a way that feels really aligned and unique for you. So you might want to learn astrology to discover more about yourself and your soul purpose and to align your life and business. You might want to certify in business astrology so that you can add this to your toolkit to support your clients. And you may also want the support of someone who's done it to keep you accountable, to lift you up and guide you on the path to making this a reality. And I'm offering all 3 ways of interacting in this program. So the Mercury level is really just about learning astrology for your personal use. You'll be applying it to your own chart. You might perhaps look up your partner, children, other people that are close to you, but really it's mainly you're doing it just to learn more about yourself at this point in time. The Saturn level or the certified level is about actually earning a certification from the Embodied Soul Astrology Academy and having the confidence to bring astrology services into your own business. So in the certified level, I'm going to be sharing some more of the templates that I use to do astrology readings, the process that I go through, and helping you feel confident about your knowledge before working with people extensively. And then the Jupiter expand level is really about getting that extra like business coaching from me, because I've built my own successful astrology practice. I've had very successful online programs. So it's about getting that accountability, support, and coaching as you go through this. So which level's right for you? Well, I think Mercury is right for you if you're not sure yet whether you want astrology to be part of how you work with clients, and potentially you just want to use it for yourself. Saturn is right for you if you have a sense you'd like to build astrology readings or services into your business, and you want to make sure you do it in a professional and ethical way. And you'd like to have an intimate and nurturing community of other apprentice astrologers to connect with, as well as direct access to me as your astrology mentor. The Jupiter expand level is right if you need support with the development of your astrology business, strategy, and offerings. And you also want accountability with regular support of an intuitive and practical coach. So what we're going to be doing in your soulful year, in the level 1 business astrology training, is we are going to plan your soulful year using my program, Your Soulful Year, which was this book that I showed you before. And everyone that joins the level 1 training will get sent out one of these books in the mail as well. You're going to understand the basics of astrology through my Astrology Basics program and also my program Foundations of Astrology. So you'll discover how to read your birth chart, understand the zodiac signs, houses, angles, planets, and asteroids, and other key birth chart elements. You're going to discover your astrological signature, style, substance, and soul. So you're going to find out how your specific luminary and planet placements can help you be more aligned and successful than ever before by going through my 4 planetary courses. So these courses cover all of the major planets. So we look at the Sun, the Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, and also Chiron. You'll also explore your karmic baggage and discover your soul purpose and calling. So we'll explore how you can embed your purpose into your soul business, including nodal astrology, so looking at the lunar nodes, your past lives and karma, your midheaven and career zone, and so much more. So this is through the Your Astrological Purpose course, which is a really amazing course. And I have to say, I ran this recently. The thing the students loved the most was actually how you can look at your chart to discover past life information, was the thing that they found extremely transformational. And then we're also going to discover your money and abundance signature. So we're going to discover the unique way you can attract money, any potential money challenges, and the potential that your chart has for you. We'll look at whether you have the millionaire or billionaire signatures, which is pretty cool. But more broadly, we're just going to look at what your chart says about the way that you can best attract and magnetize money and abundance to you in your life. So this is 8 astrology courses that we go through over the 12 months. So what's included in each level? We'll just go through that so you kind of understand what you'll get with each level. So the Mercury level, the Learn level, has the 8 astrology courses over 12 months. And I'm doing guided live course rounds for 7 of them. So the one that I don't do the live round for, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, Your Soulful Year is the one that we don't do a live round for. But everything else we go through a live round for. And Astrology Basics, you just go through and self-study as well to basically get you up to the level that you'll need to be able to get the most out of the courses. You get ongoing membership to the Embodied Soul Astrology Academy. So it's not a limited 12-month membership to these courses. You'll get membership for as long as the academy runs, which I imagine far into the future. My last programs I ran for 8 years. So I'm not someone that kind of does things for a year and then stops it. And I'm also sending out a gift in the mail. So another thing you'll get sent in the mail, I'll be sending out a little pack to everyone that registers, but I'm also going to send out, I don't know if you can see that, but the 2020 Astrological Pocket Planner, which is a really useful guide that we will make use of in the course. So if you want to go up to the next level, which is the certified level, what you're getting on top of what you get in the Mercury level is 12 months private community access. So I'm going to have a community using a platform called Circle. I'm not a big fan of Facebook communities because I want to keep you focused on the course, and I want you to be really intentional when you're going into the community. So we're going to use this to get support and feedback as you move through the training, to explore how you're going to incorporate astrology into your business. And I'm also going to run new moon and full moon calls. So there'll be 2 calls each month where we actually look more in depth at what the astrology of the new moon and the full moon is all about and how you can really align to that. You'll also get chart reading training. So an additional training that you're going to get towards the end of the year is my intuitive and insightful chart reading course. So this is going to guide you through the process I use to prepare for and conduct astrology readings that are intuitive, insightful, supportive, ethical, and have clients telling all of their friends about you. So this is going to be a really specific practical course about, okay, I've learned about what all these planets mean and placements mean. How do I actually prepare for a reading? How do I give a quality reading and an ethical reading? And it will also help you to do readings in the most efficient way for yourself as well. And then there's going to be the certification process. So this is going to be things like a quiz that you go through for each course, assignments for each course, and personalized feedback on the work that you do for each course. So if you then want to go up to the Jupiter level, that's about getting more access to me as you work through it. So you'll get an additional 4 one-hour mentoring sessions, the idea being that you have those quarterly. So every 3 months we have a 1-hour session, and you can really use those however you like. If you want to ask me questions about the course content, you can do that. If you want to talk about, what your astrology niche should be, you can do that. If you want to go through, an offering that you're thinking, we can do that. I mean, I am a business coach. I'm a launch strategist. I have expertise in online courses, and I'm an astrology mentor. So you can really use that time however best suits you. And then towards the end of the year, probably when you getting clearer on what you actually want to offer with astrology, I will review your astrology services page or sales page or whatever it is that you want to put out into the world and offer and provide you feedback. And again, I have created $1 million e-course. I've been in online business for years with $1 million business, multi-million-dollar business now. So I've got a lot of experience in providing feedback on these types of offerings. There are also discounted access to other offerings if you sign up for this program. So discounted access to my brand identity, so if you want branding done, to a package of chart readings, or to additional business coaching. So for example, if you wanted to do the Mercury level but add some business coaching on, you can do that. So if you're wanting to look at those types of different options, best thing is probably to email me and I can talk to you about what that price would be. So if we look at the pricing for the 3 levels, and please keep in mind the early bird ends in about 2 days, a bit over 2.5 days. And it's a big saving, so it's 30 to 40% discount. So it's 40% off the Mercury level at the moment and 30% off the Saturn and Jupiter levels. So the Mercury level is $1465 USD or 12 payments of 134. The Saturn level is $2797 USD or 12 payments of 256. And the Jupiter level is 3497 or 12 payments of 320. So through the early bird, I'm offering an extended payment plan of 12 payments and also a really big discount. You can see the prices that it normally is. The other thing is, if I have people on the call that have bought programs through the Academy before, I will credit what you've already invested with me off the price of your program. So if you are in that position where you might have done 1 or 2 of my courses already, please just get in touch and I'll let you know what your custom price is as well. And I do that because I don't want anyone to feel disadvantaged or like, oh, I should have bought, waited to buy it now rather than buying it then. I don't want you to feel like you're paying for something that you've already paid for, okay? So in terms of the schedule, we have kind of two main break periods during the year. So one in June and one from, a bit over a month in September and October. The rest of the year, the courses are running. There are breaks in between each course, however. So you'll see that Foundations of Astrology goes to the 19th of February, and we don't start the next one until the 1st of March. So there's generally about a 2-week break in between each course running. So basically the way it's going to work is the community, if you sign up for Saturn or Jupiter, is going to open on January 13th. We're going to run the Your Soulful Year live workshop on January 18th. And then I recommend you get into the Astrology Basics self-study in January. Again, it's not a big thing to do that, a few hours. And then from February, we're going to start going through live rounds of all of the courses. Okay, so there'll be live calls and all of that sort of thing, and facilitated discussion in the community for the Saturn and Jupiter levels. So there's 34 weeks of live courses over the 12 months. So this means you get time to study and learn and time to integrate and implement as well. You can, if you're doing the Saturn or Jupiter levels, you can submit assignments during the break periods if you want to, but you also get another 6 months at the end. So you get until mid-2022 to submit everything. I give you an extra 6 months to do that work, so it's not this urgent thing. And then the chart reading training for the Saturn and Jupiter levels will be in January of 2022. I want to do that once everyone's got the full information about all of the planets before we dive into that. So I'm running a live workshop for Your Soulful Year as a bonus. So this will be a 3-hour workshop where I'm going to dive more deeply into the astrology aspects of your soulful year. And it's just a nice way for us to get together as a group and get to know each other. So the other early bird bonuses, as I said, sending out the Astrological Pocket Planner. I haven't got this on the webpage, but I'm also sending out the Your Soulful Year book to people in the mail. If you pay in full, you can get a free year ahead astrology reading. So if you pay in full rather than payment plan for any of the levels, there are 4 year ahead astrology readings left. There's an extended payment plan, so paying over 12 months rather than 10. There's early bird that should read 30 to 40 rather than 20 to 30. Sorry about that mistake. But there's a early bird that, as I say, ends at midnight Australian time on Wednesday, the 16th. There's about 2.5 days left. And then there's also a bonus workshop on your astrology niche. So this workshop is going to be about how you can apply astrology to your unique skill sets and business to really help you work out, what is going to be my unique way. And I'm a big believer that you'll be more successful with astrology if you really pick a specific niche and type of astrology and really become known for that type of offering. Okay. I do a lot of launch astrology readings, helping people pick the exact date and time in their year to launch things. That's one of the things I'm known for. And really business astrology I've really niched into. And I think if you can find a way to pull together everything that you've done, the skills that you already have, do something quite specific, you'll actually be more successful by being specific than by being broad and general. So I just, that's been my approach in my 8 years in business, and it's worked really well for me. So that is a little bit of advice there. So a couple of frequently asked questions. So will you be offering these courses individually during the year? I might offer 1 or 2 of them individually, but they won't all be offered. So there isn't going to be the opportunity to just go through all of them individually. You can buy them at any time off the Embodied Soul Astrology Academy site, but you don't get that experience of going through live, which you get a lot more out of. And also you don't get the same level of discount by going through them individually. So when does it start and how long does it go for? So we officially start teaching in February, but as I said, we have got for the Jupiter and Saturn levels, we have got the community opening in mid-January, and there is also the live workshop for everyone in mid-January as well. Another question I've been getting is, I don't have a business. Is this right for me? Or I don't have a business yet. So really, learning astrology is about becoming more aligned with yourself and understanding yourself better and understanding what you're here to do in the world. So I actually think that this program would be really supportive. If you don't have a business yet, it will actually help you to get a lot clearer on what that business should be. I like the sound of this. How do I join? Well, you can join directly off the sales page, which I'll email the link after this call. But if you want extra add-ons, or if you're already a client of the Academy and you want to know the special pricing for you, then it's best to email me at admin@katherinehocking.com. And you're very welcome to email me and ask me any questions anyway. And in terms of what do people need to do to certify is another question that I'm getting. Well, you'll need to create a knowledge quiz. Sorry, not create, complete a knowledge quiz for each of the courses with a passing score of 80% or higher. I will allow people to retake the quiz, but it's about, just testing that you have integrated the knowledge. You need to complete workbooks for each course and submit them, and you'll need to submit 4 written readings covering the topics in the level 1 training. So I'm going to provide you with a template for those readings to use. You can do one for yourself, one for a close friend or loved one, but I also want you to do 2 for either clients who are not well known to you, or I'll give you like a random chart where you won't know whose chart it is. So to do it, because I want you to experience what it's like to do a chart for yourself, to do one for someone that you know reasonably well versus someone that is brand new off the street, because that's what it's going to be like if you are doing astrology readings for people. And then there will be an astrology chart reading ethics interview once everything else is submitted. It's not as scary as it sounds, but I want to make sure that the people that I'm certifying through my academy have, a similar sense of ethics to what the Academy believes in. And so it's really just going to be about talking through how would you deal with different situations and that sort of thing. And you'll have until the 30th of June 2022 to finalise and submit your assessment tasks. So next, I just want to ask if anyone has any questions that they'd like to ask at this time. Please put them in. I'm really happy to answer any questions anyone has. But as I said, you can always email me. I'm just going to put this into the chat box. admin@katherinehocking.com. And I'm also going to grab the sales page address as well, so you can go and read more. So I will be posting up the recording and the slides later today as well. Oh, I've just sent that information to just one person, not everyone. So let's change that. Okay, so I've put my email address there and then also the link. So Joy did ask a question, is the astrological signature the same as the soul blueprint? No, so your astrological signature is a concept I came up with, but it really looks at your sun, your moon, and your rising sign. So that's what I call your astrological signature. In terms of soul blueprint, that's not a term I use, but I have your astrological soul, which looks at Pluto, Neptune, Uranus, and Chiron, which is your astrological soul. And really, when I talk about astrological blueprint, that's like your whole chart. So everything in your chart is what I'm talking about there as well. The worksheet, no worries. Let me just grab that link again for you, Yasmin. It will come out with the replay as well. I'll put that here in the comments. So that should now be in the chat as well. And I'm just going to go back to the final slide. which is just thank you everyone for being here. I have really loved running this training for you. I'm really passionate about astro planning and living your life in alignment with the astrology, and I'd love to see you in the level 1 training. So head on over and enroll, or fill in the form to book a time to chat for me. There is a form on the sales page where you can book a 15-minute slot to have a chat to me about the program, whether it's right for you, what level might be right for you, any other questions you have. You can do that over on the page. I'm always really happy to chat to people. But thank you so much for being here, everyone. It's been amazing. There's been heaps of you on the call. So for those who attended late, do check out that worksheet link. And I hope you have an amazing day and a week. And if I don't see you in the program, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And I hope you'll continue to engage with the Embodied Soul Astrology Academy in the new year, because I'm always writing new blogs and new amazing free content and that sort of thing. Okay, so just checking. Annie says, thank you very much, Catherine. Melanie says, many thanks. Cindy says, thanks, Catherine. Really informative and interesting. Haley says, thanks. Something about the timing went wrong. Sharon says, thanks. Beth says, thanks. Okay, thank you, everyone. So nice to be here, and please do get in touch if you've got any questions. All right, guys. Yeah, bye.